Hey guys, what's going on? It's Dan, and I'm back with some more PDPL content. Today I am joined by Chad, aka Solanor, for our first coach interview of the PDPL. How are you doing today, Chad?
I'm balling, man. How are you?
I'm doing well as well, thank you. Uh, so you are one of two coaches who is 2-0 through the first 2 weeks. There are a couple more undefeated coaches, but we did have that unfortunate week 2 bye that we needed to accommodate for a couple of weird schedules. But how have you been feeling so far in the PDPL?
Oh man, I take it one week at a time. I look at my matchup and try not to get like super overwhelmed by the sheer number of like super good coaches that there are in the league. And I feel like great about my team. I know that that's like a little bit of a hot take with this league in particular, but I actually feel super confident in my team, and I'm feeling pretty good right now about my run so far.
Oh yeah, we'll absolutely give you an opportunity to dunk on everyone who rated you low in the power rankings. Don't worry, we will be getting there. But first, I know that when I've talked to you before, you said that you might feel like you're a bit less of a known quantity in this league compared to a couple of the other coaches. So why don't you give everyone a little bit of your draft or VGC background?
Yeah, certainly. I started playing VGC when COVID hit, I guess. So like right in that summer or spring of like 2020 time era. And I mean, I've been playing Pokemon ever since I was a little kid, but
Mm-hmm.
watching VGC, he like had a thing that I was interested in, and all of a sudden I was just like hooked on VGC at that point. And so I've been playing for, ever since like kind of series 4 of Sword and Shield, and have had a really fun time with it. I feel like I got really good pretty quickly at it, just like due to the sheer amount I was playing and the amount of like content I was consuming. Um, and yeah, I like got into Draft League because I'm not sure you were a part of the RPDL, right?
I was not, but I know a number of people who were. So I was not a part of the RPDL though.
Yeah, the RPDL ended up actually being my first draft league, and there I like came in and went undefeated for like 2 seasons in a row, and that felt pretty cool. And after that, I like wanted to expand my reaches a little bit to other draft leagues. I got
Mm-hmm.
invites to other leagues like the VDL and the TGR leagues like that. I haven't played in the TGR yet, but I look forward to a future season with them. And yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm a pretty consistent player with regards to like how well I do in each season. I typically make playoffs and all the seasons I've played in so far. And I mean, I just love Draft League. Like, Draft League is my absolute favorite way to play VGC.
Mm-hmm.
And like just getting the chance to be creative with sets, based off of the week, and being able to be creative with like using uh, underutilized Pokemon and matchups is like pretty fun and a really cool concept to me. So I love Draft League, and the fact that I love it, I think only further fuels how much effort I'm able to put into it.
Yeah, that absolutely makes sense. So you've been in a number of formats. Have they all been these sort of Series 9 Dynamax formats, or have you played in a few others?
There's been a variety of stuff. I've played in like Series 10 formats that like remove the restricted, so it's just like Series 10 with no restricted, just like a bunch of like base level Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
Then also formats that like the SCDA or Silphco, which is a pretty cool draft league. I mod it there. So, but there they have these Wi-Fi formats, and there's like mythical. You get to choose using mythicals and restricteds in the Dynamax format, but the restricteds like can't Dynamax, but the mythicals can, and so there's like
Mm-hmm.
some really fun and unique dynamics there. And my favorite format that I've done so far is another SCDA format where we actually have no Dynamax. It's like Series 10 again, but with no restricteds and mythicals taking their place instead. And that's a really fun format because mythicals are awesome.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I
this is
can.
actually,
What was that?
oh no, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was just gonna say this is actually my first format having played like just pure Series 9. So this is cool.
Yeah, all right. So which of those formats has been your favorite to play so far?
Oh, definitely Mythicals with no Dynamax and no Restricted. That's a super fun format.
Yeah, I don't think I've played that one specifically. This past season in the MDL, we did Mythicals and transfer moves, but we did include Dynamax in that as well. But there were a couple restricted as well, like the weaker ones. But it was a very fun format. I don't know how much of that I could take normally because everything gets follow me, and that's so much harder to deal with. But
yeah, I don't know. There's just something about Mythicals and the current rule set. I actually think that Sword and Shield did a really good job of limiting the amount of like what I consider to be bogus moves that they just like randomly gave to a bunch of different mons, like what were like tutor moves, like Knockoff and Follow Me was another one, and Tailwind were like some of the biggest contenders for bogus moves. And I actually think Sword and Shield did a super good job of limiting that. And so yeah, going to a format where you have to play like with Follow Me Blastoise is probably not very fun.
I mean, it's fun, but it's a lot in prep every week. Just dealing with a couple Follow Me's throughout the league is one thing, but dealing with every team having Follow Me, that's something entirely different.
But that's actually why I love the format with Sword and Shield rules, but Mythicals as well, because it limits the number of those bogus moves, and then you get to use Mythicals, which are Pokemon that people don't typically get to see in VGC, and I think that's like really neat that they get a little place in the spotlight.
Oh yeah, absolutely. One of my favorite draft teams I've ever had Volcanion on it, and that was an absolute load of fun. But you mentioned earlier that you were a very big fan of your team so far and how it's been performing. Do you wanna expound upon that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually have a Twitch, and on my Twitch I did a pre-draft analysis, or like I guess a post-draft analysis of my team. And that was like a lot of fun, like going through talking about like everything I thought was good about my team. And so far, like the strong points has been like the versatility of the mons that I picked. So I guess like to give the viewers a little perspective, I'm one of the two coaches that decided to go with the top heavy drafting style, which essentially means you use all of your drafting resources to pick essentially 6 to 7, higher quality mons, and then you're left with points that only allow for like super low tiers that no one would typically ever use. And
Lampent made an appearance this week, didn't it?
It was on the 6th, but unfortunately my opponent didn't bring. Yeah, he didn't bring Tricker. It was on the 6th, but he did not make the field. Lampent will get his time to shine, though. Do not worry. But yeah, so I originally just I started building the team around Incineroar, because Incineroar was a mon that I thought was a really good value bracket, and so I went from there. And as I have been playing the Series 12 ladder, I've noticed that I really like using Pokemon like Regieleki and Landorus, Therian, Tapu Fini, and so I just decided to get all of them. And those are obviously like all very high tier Pokemon in draft, but man, have they put in work. I mean, Aleki and Fini are just like so consistently good, despite being able to do like different things. And then I have what I consider to be some very good lower tier like budget picks, like Gallade and Morgrem, who essentially can just fill in the role of Grimmsnarl, who's also like a pretty good and common VGC mon. So yeah, I like my team a lot, and I guess the big thing that I've enjoyed about it with prep so far is just like how versatile everything is. I mean, when you think of Incineroar, it's like there's typically 7 moves that people like to run on that thing, and that's not considering like some of the cheesier strats that you can run with it too. Like I've seen Dynamax Incineroar in other draft leagues, and so that's like definitely something in my back pocket as well. But yeah, like all of my moves, or all my mons, just feel like they have like a ton of different move sets that they could run, and that I like that. I like that a lot, actually.
Yeah, I think that's something that when we were doing the preseason power rankings, people sort of dinged you on versatility because they didn't think you had a lot of like Mon versatility. You'd be bringing, a group of 4 or 5 Mons pretty consistently with just a couple of flex slots. But I think the Mons that you did pick, those very consistent Mons that you are going to bring, do have a lot of individual set versatility, like the very legitimate strategy of Dynamax, Thunder Punch, and Solanor.
Exactly.
I'm just saying I wouldn't count it out in our match or when I play you at some point.
Hey, easy there. I don't want to reveal all my tech on the YouTube video, so.
yeah. Okay, I completely understand that. But speaking of the draft, I do have a couple quick questions about the way you decided to approach it. Did your slot affect the way that you were going to draft, or would you have tried going Incineroar round 1 from pick 1 all the way to pick 16?
I actually have no idea when my pick was. I'm pretty sure I was like pick 11 or some awkward number like that.
It was somewhere in the middle.
And so like typically with those like middle picks, it's hard to like build a team because typically like with picks that are near the end, it's easier to just like grab those 1-2 punches that you're looking to get. But when you're in the middle, it's typically actually just better to like draft good Mons here and there. And so that's actually the idea that I was going for. Was I didn't really want to like a set mode, like a weather team or a terrain team or like a hard trick room team or anything like that. I just wanted like versatile Mons who are good at their job. And like I was just trying to pick the best of the best. When you think of fast Pokemon, Regieleki is typically the one you think of first. When you think of like bulky water types, Finny is definitely on that list. And when you think of like a consistent fire type with good support, Incineroar is always like number 1 in that field. So as I was like going through the draft, I was just like looking for Mons who are good at their jobs so that, I would have like Pokemon that people like needed to really respect when it came time to like prepping for my team. And so, yeah, I guess my pick did affect where I was, because maybe if I had a spot like closer to the end, I would have considered like drafting modes instead of just having flexible Pokemon. But I mean, like I've said earlier, I'm very satisfied with my team at the moment. So
yeah, that makes sense. Were you sniped, any major snipes during the draft, or by the time you started looking ahead, did you generally get what you were looking at?
Oh yeah, I didn't get sniped at all. I was like looking at pretty much all the Pokemon, and I guess, all right, that's a lie. That was a lie. I did get sniped because the Pokemon I had decided as my bulky water type was like kind of up in the air. There were a lot of options I was considering, such as like Rotom Wash and Gyarados and Blastoise were all Mons that I was considering. But once all of those Mons got taken, and when I say they were taken, they were like literally taken one right after the other, right after the other. And
right.
that was like, oh man, I missed out on every single bulky water type that I wanted. And I saw Finny in the top tier and just decided to go for it. But once I picked Finny, I was like super glad that I picked Finny, and it felt like way easier to build around her than it would have been to build around like any of those other bulky water types that I was going to pick. So even though they were snipes at the time, I'm like completely cool with it now.
Yeah, and Finny does give you that sort of pseudo-terrain mode option that you want, at least the ability to battle on it as well. Speaking of battles, so what have your thoughts been on your sort of first 2 weeks, your first 2 matches? I think watching them, you've shown to have like a really solid defensive and highly switching play style. Is that something that you've always done, or is that something that's more team specific for you?
That was an excellent transition from question to question, by the way. I just have to say that had me geeking a little bit. But yeah, with regards to the battles, yeah, this team actually just like really allows for that kind of play style. So, the play style where I'm like switching Mons in, like reading kind of what my opponent's trying to do, who the threat on the board is, and having something to like pivot into with that. That feels really good. So like there are instances where my Tapu Fini will be on the board against like a threatening grass type or an electric type move, and it's like super easy to just like pivot in Ferrothorn or Landorus on a play like that. And yeah, like while I don't think that the pivoting play style is technically the one that I would consider myself to have like as a trademark,
Hmm.
definitely been super valuable to have access to a playstyle like that with this format, because I actually think that with Series 9, kind of the meta move is to go for later game Dynamaxes with Mons who are just good with Dynamax. And it's like actually pretty ideal to stall out early game Dynamax while conserving as much of your resources as you can. And pivoting just like really allows for that,
Hmm.
especially if you can bait an early Dynamax out of your opponent, which I've been able to do pretty consistently.
Yeah, that absolutely makes a lot of sense. So I want to talk a little bit about future opponents. And first off, do you have any thoughts about your week 3 matchup? If you tell me anything that's like too techie, I won't release the video until after the match is over. But any thoughts about your week 3 matchup? I think you're against Matt this week, right?
Yeah, I've been taking a look at the doc, and I have to say, like, Matt has one of those teams that I found to be more threatening. When we were doing the power rankings, I had him in the upper echelon of my picks, and yeah, he like did a super good job of having a bunch of Mons who could be brought to the matchup. And so right now, my process has just been about what what Mons can I bring that are able to cover for as much as what he's got. And I know that Matt's like a pretty good player as well, so this is definitely like any other matchup in this
Yeah,
league. It's not gonna be an easy one, but yeah, he's got a good team. I don't really feel like revealing any tech,
that's fine.
mostly because I don't have any tech planned yet.
Excellent, excellent.
So, but yeah, I have taken a look at the matchup, and it looks like it's going to be another wild one. So,
Yeah, I can agree with that. Matt is a very solid player. He is a 2-time champion in the MDL and a 2-time champion in the MBC. So he's done pretty well recently. I'll put it like that. But looking at your future matchups, is there a matchup that you are most nervous for and a matchup that you're most excited for playing?
well, both of them happen to be the same one. I believe that I play Auto at some point this season.
Sounds right.
And yeah, I believe that is week 9. And Otto is like kind of a legend in pretty much every server he's ever been in, and I have actually never gotten the privilege of being able to play against him. So I'm looking forward to like playing against him, where he probably like rated my team a little bit lower on the PRs, and so I'm excited to like give myself the chance to show my stuff a little bit, hopefully bring a good set against Otto. I also wanted to give a quick shout out to Saki as well, because I'm really excited to play against him too.
Man,
He's got a really
every Saki set is wild.
yeah. Yep. And Saki and I probably had one of the best sets in like the whole VDL season 6 of like VDLV create, and so I'm like super looking forward to the opportunity to play Saki again also. So yeah, probably Saki and Otto are the two matchups I'm looking forward to the most.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think those are both going to be great. But I mean, also part of the point of the league is that literally every single matchup is going to be great. So I don't think there was a wrong answer there.
It's a pretty cool league you got here, man. It's like kind of crazy how you were able to just like pick and choose all of these champions from other leagues and just kind of bring them together in this league. It's actually really, really cool.
Yeah, I know in coach chat earlier we were talking about looking at the roster and saying, man, 8 people in this roster are going to miss playoffs, and that's absolutely wild. But
yeah,
I think it's going to work out the way that I was hoping to for this season, so I'm excited about that.
Oh, I'm sure you are. I mean, you've created something like very, very powerful here, so
Yeah.
it's going to be cool. I'm looking forward to seeing more matches. I look forward to when content comes out, because it gives me a chance to play against other players, especially since like one of your questions earlier was that I'm a little lesser known, and it's like I don't know a lot of these players that are in this league either, and so getting a chance to like kind of figure out who these players are by being able to watch their match
Mhm.
is something I look forward to doing every week.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. Like for example, you'd think the path that you've taken so far, you're playing someone who's won, I believe, you played someone who won, I believe, 3 leagues, won his division twice in the UGA week 1. Then week 2, you play someone who got top 16 at global finals for Players Cup. Then you're like, okay, it's got to get easier from here. Then week 3, you play someone who's won 4 leagues recently. Then week 4, you play the 2-time UGA grand champion. So it's
it's a gauntlet, man. It's a gauntlet for sure.
yeah, definitely. But I think that's a little bit about Pokemon for now. But why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself? Are you still in school right now?
Yeah, so I'm currently a junior in college.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go with undisclosed Virginian college
Okay.
because reasons. But yeah, I'm actually studying to be a marine biologist. So currently trying to get like my undergrad in marine biology, and I'm a junior. I'm getting pretty close. So, but also just trying to stay focused one semester at a time. Um, yeah, I'm 22 years old, so
Yeah.
typical Pokemon player age.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, marine biology, are you going to need a sort of post grad degree for that, or are you applying for those, or is it sort of a field that you can get into with an undergrad degree?
A little bit of both. It kind of depends on what you're trying to do. For me specifically, I'm trying to work in like wildlife conservation in that
Mm-hmm.
field, and so that field is more about just like experience than it is like post grad stuff. And so at the moment, I'm actually going to be spending my summer in Hawaii, and so I'm actually looking to find an opportunity out there to work in that sort of field and get
Mm-hmm.
some experience to add to my resume. But obviously getting a high GPA on my undergrad would be nice for if I did try to go for post grad stuff. And again, I'm trying not to get too far ahead of myself because that's kind of a philosophy that I go with in life in general.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it is like a little exciting to think about all the opportunity that is out there for me.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely an interesting sounding field that I'm not going to pretend I know too much about, but it does sound very cool at least. But you mentioned you're going to Hawaii. Do you travel often, or is that sort of just like a big summer trip you're able to take before your senior year?
Yeah, so actually, I have family who just moved to Hawaii recently, and it just so happened that the opportunity popped up for me to go down there and find some work and spend some time in a place that's not Virginia. So I
Mm-hmm.
get a chance to, go live in Hawaii for a summer. I wasn't going to turn that down. And yeah, that's going to be a really exciting trip. Hopefully my change in time zone doesn't affect my matches too much, but I have a feeling it probably will.
I mean, it could, but we also have people in Australia, so you are going to be closer to their time zone. So, you
Hey,
know,
touche.
the good and the bad. But yeah, as a fellow Virginian, I completely understand the desire to not be around here in the summer sometimes because it can be a little boring and just boring hot instead of fun hot.
Yeah, and Hawaii definitely has a lot of that fun hot, so definitely going to be hopefully get to show that off on my Twitch a little bit as well. Be able to share kind of my experience there, and I think that would just be it's going to be a really cool experience regardless, and I'm
Mhm.
really excited to be able to do something like that. And yeah, it's my first like time being able to like spend an extensive amount of time like outside of the mainland US. So
Mhm.
this will be pretty cool, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. But again, trying to finish my semester strong before I get too headstrong into the Hawaii thoughts. So,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. One day at a time. I understand the motto now.
yep,
Uh,
yep.
speaking of one day at a time and other things that you might do that aren't Pokemon, what other hobbies do you have outside of Pokemon, or is it just sort of like life, marine biology, and Pokemon, and don't do too much else besides that?
No, that's simply untrue. I do play a pretty good amount of Pokemon, but I
Hmm.
actually have found a pretty good balance between that and my other hobbies. I work out super consistently, like going to the gym, weight training, that sort of deal.
Yeah,
I
you were standing there doing bicep curls to look swole before the interview started. I yes, I do remember that part.
Yeah, gotta always gotta look as full on camera as possible. But but I do that. I like strength training. I think it's really fun and
Hmm.
good. I also cook a lot. I cook mostly my own food, pretty much all the time. Do a lot of meal prepping, even as a broke college student, which is always fun to try to
Yep,
navigate that challenge.
I've been there. Yep.
And yeah, I like creative writing as well. And that's like not something I get to indulge in nearly as much, but I get it. I take advantage of the time when I get to, and sometimes I'll just like write a little fiction short story whenever I'm feeling it. I also like to read as well, so
Hmm.
I'm like very into literature in general. And even though it like wasn't the major I chose, um, if I would have chosen a different major, it probably would have just been like an English major of some sort because I just love to read and write. Um, and yeah, like marine biology
Hmm.
stuff is cool too. Like learning about marine bio stuff is fun. But yeah, I'm just like a very big health advocate. I like try to preach as like many good like healthy habits as I possibly can because you never know when being healthy is going to pay off for you in the long run. So that's why I like put in the extra effort to, make sure I'm eating right and training hard and, drinking a lot of water. And I be sure to tell everyone that I am around to do the same thing. Just want everyone to be feeling good all the time. So
Yeah, yeah, you definitely can't miss that lemon water you're pulling up right now. But
there you go.
I completely understand that. My wife is a personal trainer, so I get the whole. It's a lifestyle thing you have to live to eat clean, lift the weights, but lift them the right way. Focus on
Mhm.
strength over cardio a lot of the time. So yeah, I completely get that sort of lifestyle and the decisions you have to make and the commitment that it takes to live through it, but also the long term benefits that you can get from it.
Yeah, I mean, it's also just like a feeling that you get from it as well. There's definitely like a lot of like pain that comes from training and stuff. Training
Hmm.
itself is not a very easy process, and having to get rid of a lot of like what people would consider to be like junk food, having to get rid of that from your diet is a hard choice as well. But like i I haven't felt better like in a long time. I haven't felt this good in like a super long time, ever since switching over to like the controlled diet and the hard days of like
Hmm.
training and stuff. So I really do enjoy all of that. And, I have a social life as well. I'm a college student.
Yeah, of
So,
course.
so I do like, it's a hard balance for sure, man. I tell you, like between, between being a draft league player and just like a VGC player in general, and then balancing that with having a social life and, staying healthy and working hard, getting good grades in school. It's definitely a balance, but it's a fun one, or at least it's one that I'm willing to put up with for now.
Yeah, I can see that. You said you cook a lot of your own food. Do you have like a favorite type of food to make, or is it sort of like the meal prep? I'm just gonna cook a solid sweet potato, mash it up, put no flavor on it, and just eat that because I need my complex carbs.
Nope, I put tons of energy and tons of love into all of the food I make. So it's got, everything is like well seasoned, and I'm like exploring what like good food
Hmm.
tastes like, and how it's supposed to be. But I guess like a fallback recipe that I have is just like a simple chicken and rice with some green vegetables like asparagus or broccoli. That's like my typical fallback. It gets you pretty much everything you need. So
Yeah, yep, I can definitely see that being the case. So that's all of the questions that I have. Do you have any closing thoughts or any questions you want to pose to me before we wrap this up?
yeah, why me? Why was I one of the coaches selected for your league? I guess it's not like a I'm questioning your decision or anything, but I am just curious. We have a pretty limited amount of interactions given that
Hmm.
the only like draft league that we ever shared was VDL. And so I was just curious as to like, you picked me to be in this league, and I feel very much like an outlier when it comes to many of the people just because we haven't been in the same draft league. So
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And actually, you're not the person I've been in the league the least with. Like, there have been a couple people that I actually haven't been in any leagues with. But a lot of it came down to player research, and because you have a Twitch instead of a YouTube, it was a lot more limited with you. But I think a big part of it was watching as many of your games as I could during the VDL, finding replays of people that had tagged your team name on YouTube, watching them back from opposing perspectives, and then one thing that really sold me is that you were doing power rankings for a couple other leagues on your Twitch, and I went back and I watched and took some pretty detailed notes on those streams while you were doing that to be like, okay, this is what he thinks about these mons. This is sort of what his mindset looks like. Is he someone that is just decent at the game, or is he someone that I think gets it, understands the way that mons work on a deeper level, like that sort of thing? And I was impressed by the analysis on that as well. So that was another reason. So I think that was the conglomeration. So you were the person I probably had the least video on, just because there's less available since yours delete after 2 weeks since it's on Twitch, but I still ended up consuming probably 10 hours of your content in the prep for the league in terms of run up to analyze if I thought you'd be a good fit for the league or not.
Wow, I'm flattered. Thank you for all the kind words. And yeah, I do make a ton of content. I love making power ranking videos,
Mm-hmm.
especially for leagues that I'm in. I didn't have to do that for VDL because Saki and um, Batista and Gumi and like other players were making power rankings already. So I felt like my opinion would be a little bit redundant, but I'm actually kind of the main content man of the SCDA. And so like getting to make power ranking videos is really fun because I love talking about the game, and I love talking about just like mons and teams in general, trying to like figure out why coaches picked the mons that they did. That's like a really fun process for me. And yeah, I'm gonna do them again for our upcoming season. And wow, like kind of crazy to think that I'm a player that has research done on me. It's kind of funny to think about.
Yeah, it was a substantial process, and I think overall I probably on double speed watched 250 to 300 hours worth of content to make sure that the 16 coaches that I invited to the league, there wouldn't be a weak link. Like that was important to me to make sure that there wouldn't be a weak link, and that even a perceived weak link still had a shot every single week and could make playoffs and could even take down the whole league. So that there was as little difference as possible from the best to the worst, which means I needed to find the 16 best because I was definitely inviting the 7 best that I knew.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, you've put a lot of effort into this league, and it's like really showing off. We've had a ton of like crazy sets, including matches like you and Gumi from
Oh,
this most recent week.
that match
Uh,
was a mess from both of us.
it was still incredible entertainment and a super fun match to watch. And then you got matches like me versus KS Knight Rider, who I just found out is not pronounced KS. I don't remember how I was pronouncing it in kind of a funny way on my stream. And once I found out how his name was actually pronounced, I felt a little bit goofy. But
Yeah, what were you saying, like Case Knight Rider or something?
yeah, I think I was calling him Case Knight Rider, and
It
thinking about
happens.
that was a little bit funny. But yeah, like we've had some really, incredible sets already. Goomer versus Tay, another
Mhm.
one that like comes to mind. So just like a ton of really cool sets so far, and because it's a basically an 11-week long season, we're gonna get
Mhm.
to see way more sets between people who are really good at this game in the draft format. And so your hard work is paying off, and I'm sure that you're just tickled to see that.
Yeah, I'd love to be doing better right now, but besides that, I am I'm absolutely glad. Hey, any league I can go into and start O2, it's going to be a pretty solid league. So,
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more out of, again, like I was saying earlier, looking forward to seeing more out of both coaches I know and coaches that I don't know. And yeah, I'm glad to be, or I'm more than happy to be the representative of the SCDA in this league, because I feel like a lot of other leagues are have players that are pretty prominent in those. And you know, I'm I'm like one of the few SCDA players that is in this format, and so that
Hmm.
feels pretty cool to be able to rep them a little bit in a league as elite as this one is. And I'm sure that if this league was on the draft.nl site, that it would definitely be like a platinum level league for sure.
Oh yeah, the only thing that would stop this league from being 4.5 or 5.0 is that there are a number of coaches that come from strictly document leagues like this league, so they would come in with a with the new score system. They'd be like a 1200 or whatever the baseline is for coming in, so that might affect it a little bit, but it would belie the actual skill. But yeah, this is, I think, the most this, if it was on the website, I think it would be the most competitive doubles league on the website, probably.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, just with how like known some of these people are for just like coming in and dominating the leagues that they're in, including
Hmm.
myself.
Yep.
Um, it's like it's a really neat thing you've built here. So I'd say give yourself a pat on the back for what you've been able to build here. And yeah, you've got the number one team voted by us, the players. So you gotta start
Yeah,
stepping it up a little bit.
I gotta step it up some. That's a habit of mine is slow starts in leagues after having the number one team in power rankings, and I didn't even have to rate myself number one this time. Everyone else rated me number one, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, thank you so much for being the first test subject in these coach interviews. I'm hoping to do a few more of them throughout the season, and I'm enjoying having you in the league, and I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of your matches. And like I said, the rest of the matches for the league in general too. So good luck this week.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate all the kindness, and yeah, I'm gonna keep doing my thing, and I'm gonna hopefully keep winning these matches because that's kind of what I came here to do is come in and beat some well-known players. So Matt, I guess you're next up. So good luck. My one final thing I want to say is consider giving my channel a follow on Twitch, twitch.tv dash dh underscore Solanor. I would appreciate that as I'm trying to kind of build myself up as kind of a draft league content creator. So I'd
Mhm.
appreciate any support. But
Yeah, the
yeah,
channel
it's
will
been a
be
really
linked in the description below, guys. So just go ahead and click on it and give them a follow.
yeah, really appreciate it. And yeah, I appreciate being the interviewee. And yeah, good luck to the rest of your season. And like you, I also look forward to more great matches. So
All right, thanks so much, and thanks all you guys for watching. Don't forget to give Chad a follow at his Twitch channel below, and if you enjoy this type of content, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Until then, I will see you next time. Bye.